In the area of disaster and humanitarian relief, discussions of cooperation between Forum companies and the United Nations. On hunger, a group of Forum companies to work on hunger in Africa. Significant recommendations were developed on how international financial institutions can stimulate private investment. Fifthly, a serious exploration has begun of an alliance between UNDP, governments, and the Foundation to expand the development of PPPs, public-private partnerships. So these are a sense of the sort of things the Forum can act as a platform for. Let me be very clear about how the Forum acts. The Forum is a coordinating organization. It provides leadership, and it's got a job really to incubate new ideas which it puts in front of its members, and its members are free to choose in their own way what it is that they wish or not wish to be involved in. We provide, as it were, in the Forum the menu, and it's up to our members to decide exactly what dishes they want to take.
We talked about how to possibly use, even more than used right now, the internet and technology as a way of enhancing higher education. There was a concept of college education on a CD. So there was a lot of emphasis on education. Another action area is a theme I heard throughout all the panels I was on, including this one, the need for flexibility. Talking about job markets, talking about jobs, talking about changes in technology. So it's not just education, but what does a company do, what does the society do to enhance the flexibility of the workforce? So education, education, education is one part of the process. Flexibility, 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 that's partly education. It's partly how you organize social security policies. It's partly pension policies and healthcare policies. So there's a lot of action items for public officials to enhance flexibility.
The uncertainty which there is in the future of Palestine and Israel. But that is a tiny issue. That is 10 million people out of 6 billion on the planet. And yet it is getting a tremendous amount of focus, and will get a lot of focus. And you can easily wipe it off by saying, look, there are 5 million Palestinians and 5 million Jews, so to hell with them. It's not worth worrying about. But in fact, it is an epicenter of political confrontation. And you have 1 billion plus followers of Islam, which has divided itself within Islam. And you have also the issue of natural resources in terms of oil, and a possible intervention and a fractioning of the whole picture there because of some extremism that we find. But because it is, if you like, symbolic of a confrontation which may turn it all upside down. And so I think of the 5 themes that were there, there may be a 6th, which is the leverage point of violence and of confrontation, and which will affect not just the 10 million people. It has an impact on oil, has an impact on stability, and brings to the fore the issue of Islam and confrontation. So I think we should just have that little shadow in the back of our minds.
I saw it urgent in the meeting on illicit economy, where we discussed about counterfeiting, about piracy, and more than anything else, the trade of human beings, the trade of arms, etc. These are illicit economies, illicit economics.
That's what the purpose of this meeting is. It shouldn't be I will, as Peter Brabeck said, but you should. The Forum will provide platforms for collaborative efforts, and I think a number of initiatives have been newly taken or enhanced during this meeting, which will have a tangible impact. Mr. Wolfenson, you have from the World Bank given a lot of emphasis to this project, and we will see what we can do in this respect to create a much stronger fundament of what we call a global trusteeship. This brings me maybe to the last point. If we look at Davos, what we want to achieve is to create a global trusteeship. That's what we are missing in our world.
Well, I think it's an excellent example of what the World Economic Forum does best, which is to bring people together and to have a sustained and deep discussion that doesn't duck any of the important issues. And so I think it's been absolutely brilliant this morning. I think we're now going to advance the annual report on West-Islam relationship, taking the debate further, looking at the tough questions of immigration, intellectual questions and so on. It will not end, actually. I mean, the world is in such a state and the divisions are so deep and dark that really we can't be complacent about it. I mean, frankly, we live in a very damaged world and the issues and implications of 9/11 continue with us.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. I may now ask our co-chairs to join, and I will ask each of the co-chairs to comment rapidly on the speech of Dr. Reis, to raise maybe an issue, and Madam Secretary, I hope that you will give us the pleasure to respond rapidly afterwards to the issues raised. So please welcome with me the co-chairs of the meeting: Tony Blair, Prime Minister of the United Kingdom from 1997 to 2007, Jamie Dimon, Chairman and Executive Officer of JP Morgan Chase and Company USA, Mr. Kamat, the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of ICICI Bank in India. I have to say, my teacher 40 years ago, Dr. Henry Kissinger, Indra Nooyi, the Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of PepsiCo, David O'Reilly, the Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of Chevron, and Chairman Wang, the Chief Executive of China Mobile Communications Corporation.
And I have one reflection, because obviously spending a lot of time out in the Middle East at the moment, I think the Middle East is a region that is in transition, and the question is, where's it transiting to? And I think you've got two competing visions, and one is actually a vision very similar to the one that you outlined, which is about opening up, which is about trying to bring the political and the cultural and the social into line with the enormous economic power that region now has, right at the cutting edge of globalization. And I think, this is a region rich, as we know, in danger, but also rich in opportunity and possibility. And all I would say, and this is why I very much welcome both what you said and also your own personal commitment to the Middle East peace process, is that this is a struggle out there in the Middle East that affects all of us. This is one of the great things that we now recognize. It's one of the things that's important about this forum. This affects all of us.
The task of any leader is to take a society from where it is to where it hasn't been. That takes idealism. If you confine yourself to the familiar, there is stagnation. The problem is where it's the limit to which you can take the society in any period of time. Prophets have absolute values that they want implemented immediately. Statesmen have to adjust it to the toleration of the system. And this, I think, will be the big debate in America next year and in the new administration. And this will determine the degree to which we form a domestic consensus and are able to create an international consensus. In particular, I would like to endorse what has been said about Iran. The issue of Iran is not a quarrel between America and Iran. It is the challenge that proliferation almost inevitably will produce a nuclear catastrophe.
I'd like to take the issue of corporate responsibility, globalization, poverty as a kind of set, if I may. And finally, let me just say a word to my friend and really my mentor and somebody with whom I consult a lot, Henry Kissinger. Henry was the embodiment of someone who believed not just the art of the possible in diplomacy, but in expanding what the art of the possible could be. And that's really, I think, what you're saying, Henry. If you just, as a diplomat, think, all right, we have to deal within this little narrow square, and we're going to just talk until we find a conclusion, you're really not going to solve problems. You may manage them, but you're not going to solve them. If I take the example of your opening to China, this was, in fact, a revolution that we today are still benefiting from.
So I think the whole idea of Davos is really to talk about those big issues that will shape the world, and I hope that's how we view Davos going forward.
Today's headlines are rarely the same as history's judgments. Thank you very much.